Hello everybody, welcome back to Comic Book Cafe. Gonna change things up a little bit. I've had this history of talking about every little panel of every little detail of a comic book and just doing the whole story. Every detail, some of it very boring and bland. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna go over the main story arc of the comic book and my thoughts on it, and of course are there any appearances and stuff in the comic book that little things you might have missed, which are not in this case, because today we're gonna review and talk about Death of Wolverine #1. Now, when they first announced Death of Wolverine #1, I always have this opinion when Marvel says they're killing off a main character, so we got basically a 2-year window before this character returns, because Marvel characters, especially the main ones, whether it be Captain America, Iron Man, whoever it is, always comes back a couple years later. In this case, I would go with when the next X-Men movie comes out, or Wolverine movie or something, then you would see Wolverine come back, I imagine. Now, I'm not necessarily against Wolverine going away for a while, to be honest, because I liked the older, like 80s, early 90s Wolverine, the gritty, beat everybody up, foul mouth Wolverine. And I understand the maturity of his character, and that's cool, but they've kind of diluted the character. And this happens with a lot of characters from the 90s. Bishop, Gambit, whatever, Venom. They dilute them. And what I mean by that is, with Wolverine, they have put him so many places in the Marvel Universe comic books now. They have built history with him with so many characters in the Marvel Universe. They diluted the essence of Wolverine in the character. Because he's in more than one series, you get several different depictions of Wolverine. There is not one depiction of this character, and it dilutes him because sometimes they forget what the character is all about, or maybe the writer does. And so it'd be interesting. To me, the most interesting part is him being gone and what impact that has on the Marvel Universe and the characters with him being gone. Again, he is a 100-year-old character in the Marvel Universe. He had the healing factor, and then, of course, he has the metal claws, of course, the metal bones and everything. Basically almost indestructible. And of course they did this before, where Magneto took all of his adamantium, I'll probably pronounce it wrong, out of his bones, every part of his body, and his healing factor shut down. Well, in this case, he got hit with the virus, his healing factor doesn't work anymore. Still got the metal, but in this case, because he doesn't have his body basically is healed with that in mind, so without it, he can now die. Now, there is some interesting, cool premises in this comic book. First of all, you start off with the scene with him just sitting there, blood on him, kind of beaten up, by a cabin in the middle of nowhere. And then they kind of do this cool cut to Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, and him talking, basically telling him, you need to, don't, stay somewhere. I know I can fix your healing factor, but don't, go out in public. And he's like, once this gets out, everybody's gonna be after me. My enemies are gonna be after me. They're gonna want to take me out because they're gonna know I no longer can heal. He goes, yeah, so stay somewhere safe. Don't go out of your way and let people know, or go somewhere that this could get out. And then he also tells them, this is where the interesting part comes in. Do not use your claws, because the bacteria from your claws, with stuff you do, is going to go in your body and, could wear it down or kill you. Which, that was an interesting premise that they did that hey, this, your claws could kill you with the stuff that comes in your body because they're going out. Do whatever you do, don't use your claws. So then we cut past that nice little scene, and then we get to the part where he goes to the bar, of course, which he's been to before. He's sitting there, he, calls somebody. They don't say who it is. He just wants to hear a friendly voice. And then, before this, he tells the bar, hey, there are going to be people still looking for me. They're not going to be friendly. Just so you know, don't tell them where I'm at. And this leads to some American guy showing up to the bar later with a group of guys. I'm not sure who he is. There's a big American flag on his face, painted on his face, and he gets the bartender, I guess, basically tell him where he is, because even though Wolverine told him not to tell him where he was, he had to give him a note. And he gave a note to the guy and basically, call him an idiot. Come here if you want to find me. And so he goes out there, and when he gets to the actual beach, you just see all these dead bodies everywhere. People who already tried to take Wolverine out and failed. And they have this battle, Wolverine and him. It doesn't last very long. And it all leads up to basically, Wolverine asks him, why did you make the contract? And he goes, I didn't make the contract. I'm trying to fulfill it. And then Wolverine finally finds out who did it. And he says, well, Viper made the contract. And, of course, the very last panel shows Viper, her, and a chain around, looked like Sabretooth. And Sabretooth's, like, down kind of like on the ground, like kind of like a dog-like pose. And that's how they ended it. There wasn't a lot that happened too much. I guess it was more of a setup. It wasn't bad. But if it was me, like everybody else, I would assume Sabretooth would be the one to kill him. That's the person who should get to kill him when this is all over. But it'll be interesting what they're going to, like, who they're going to let him run into the next 3 issues before this run is over. Is it going to be, like, his most famous, like, solo, when he's solo villains he's going to fight? Or how are they going to do this, right? And obviously, if they're smart, he's going to go out with some massive big fight with whoever this is. So we'll see how it ends. We'll see how they're going to end it. How are they going to kill off Wolverine to do service to this character and to the fans of the character and what they expect? So down below, I'd love to hear your thoughts on if you read this comic book or how you think the series should end. Overall, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. It was just first issue, a lot of setup kind of thing. They're kind of showing a lot of people wanting to take out Wolverine. And, that was it. So, thanks for watching like always, guys. And I will talk to you guys again later for another comic book video.